right, let's get to the NFC, and let's talk about those Seattle Seahawks. So I'm expecting a lot of comments in there, people. You guys have been quiet.
Where's Rob Knight?
Hopefully Rob's listening. We haven't heard from Rob all night, but I want to hear it here. It was a rough game for Seattle. This is the game I was disappointed I picked wrong. And I think if I knew Jared Goff was going to play, I was going to pick the Rams, even though Jared Goff did not start. Wolford started before he got hurt. And Jared Goff came in and did not play great. He was 9 of 19, 155 and a touchdown. He was not the reason why the Rams won this game. Seattle came out flat. They looked, I don't want to say uninterested, because obviously you're not in a playoff game, but just out of sync. Russell Wilson looked like Russell Wilson from like 3 or 4 years ago, where he was just running for his life. He never looked comfortable in that pocket.
He's done that most of the season, second half of the season.
Second half of the season for sure.
He had his line, and I'm not trying to rip on the line or anything, but they've got to do something. I mean, you look at the age of some of those linemen, they're getting up there. I mean, that's where Seattle needs to go. And I know they don't have their first pick. They don't have a pick until midway of the second round, I think. But you've got to go line, or you've got to start trading and get some spots and get some decent line protection, because if Russell is still going to stay and cook, he needs to have time to throw the ball.
The Seahawks have a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, a fifth-round pick, and 2 seventh-round picks.
Yeah, so you know right away they're going to be having to make big plays over the next, big decisions in those picks.
And it's got to be offensive line. I think running backs. I mean, they've had this year for Seattle was so rough as far as running backs go, because how many different running backs did they have to go out there with all of the injuries they had? And there were points where it was like the fifth string running back was going out there. So that's difficult, but their receivers are great. Their defense is okay. It obviously is not the Legion of Boom by any means, but I think they're middle of the road defense. They're fine. Russell Wilson is fantastic, but I mean, he gets sacked 5 times, probably got pressured 3 times as many times as that, and just did not look comfortable. And the Rams defense is so good. Aaron Donald is ridiculous. That it's going to be really interesting. Obviously, defense wins championships and everything, and they've got a great matchup when they take on the Green Bay Packers on Saturday, which I think is a fantastic game. But Seattle just looked outmatched, and once this game got going, I never thought they had a chance to win this game.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how everything transpired in that. They just need. And I think we were even going to take the points on that game, if I remember right, because they were that much of a favorite. They should have handled business.
No, I wouldn't. No, just because I almost picked the Rams. It was just because of the quarterback situation that worried me.
But I think
for the Rams,
the defense, for the Rams is just
so good.
It's so good. I mean, Ramsey has been a great spot for him to come and play. And Donald looks like a stud, like he's probably going to be there for a couple more years. Need to get him one more D lineman, I think, and that defense will really be unbelievable.
All right, Tampa Bay beats the Washington football team 31-23. Not the most entertaining game, but Tyler Heineke, who came in, looked fantastic for just being thrown onto the COVID protocol team just in case things happen. And then obviously Alex Smith is unable to go. Dwayne Haskins makes a complete fool out of himself and gets kicked. And here you go, Heineke, your first start is in the playoffs against a tough Tampa Bay team.
And a month ago, he was still finishing up his finals.
Right.
And for him to do what he did, I mean, for that man to go up against Tom Brady and keep it close, I mean, just hats off.
He had the ball late with the chance to come back and tie this game. And Antonio Gibson had just could not go anywhere. He's still coming off a little bit of an injury. And Tampa Bay was keying in on the running game, just going a full-on Heineke, you have to beat us. He throws for 306 and a touchdown, and he does throw a pick. But Tampa Bay is too scary.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have Evans, Godwin, and Brown, and Brait, who for the tight end, who hasn't done much this year, coming back. All of them get at least 49 receiving yards. And it's just Tom Brady has so many weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And Gronk didn't even make a catch in this game. You don't have Ronald Jones at all. Leonard Fournette played pretty well. But at what point this is why Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. Is this team was a quarterback away from making a run, and he knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And now here they are when they added in Gronk and Antonio Brown. That is just a ridiculous, just a feast for Brady.
I think the one player out of all those names that made the biggest impact, and it was on some third down plays, was Brady. Mm-hmm. Brady looked unbelievable where he was at, and it was just crazy to see him almost take the more important role from Gronk's hands to make things happen, because those were normal Gronk positions when he was in New England. I mean, it was to him, and for Brady to step up and make those, key catches there, third down, unbelievable player. I mean, and like you said, there's just way too many weapons on that team.
And then the Saints do beat the Chicago Bears 21-9. There's not much to say about this game. It was boring. I felt bad for the kids that had to watch it on Nickelodeon. At least it looked cool.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I went to the Walmart pickup. I had my groceries picked up during that time because I knew it was going to be a boring game, so I didn't want to really watch it. But I think hearing the numbers that came out today, 27 million watched the CBS version, 2 million watched the Nickelodeon version.
And that's okay.
And then that's okay. And that's what they were wanting. They were wanting to see if they could get the kids to watch it. And that, for me, it didn't really do any kind of change. I couldn't tell the difference. But I think the big thing for me is the play calling for it, because I was actually pretty excited to see who was in there. They had Nate Burleson in there, and they had Noah Eagle. And him doing that, and Noah Eagle being Ian Eagle's boy.
And that's who I thought the whole time was Ian Eagle that was going to do play-by-play.
Yeah,
Noah Eagle sounds just like him.
He does. I mean, Noah Eagle, and he's only 22. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the next day he was calling. They said he was calling a college basketball game there on Monday,